Come get the tea from me. LVB. Hey everyone, and welcome back to What's the Gossip podcast. And today I'm joined by 90s girl band royalty. She was originally signed by P Diddy and would go on to tour with Britney Spears Nsync and become the first girl group to have their song retired from the TRL chart with 65 days on the countdown. She loves me, she loves you not. It's Melissa from Dream. Hey Melissa, welcome to What's the Gossip. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Where are you in the world today?
Oh boy, Los Angeles.
Oh, so you've got the nice weather.
Yes. Well, we've been actually having quite some rain, like a lot of rain recently, which is not too common. But yeah, it's been nice. I like the rain, so it's nice. It's nice to have a change.
Rain in England is like tropical weather to us. It's like looking out the window, you see the rain coming down. It's like, oh, isn't it gorgeous outside? So what's going on over in LA? Because in England, we're still in lockdown. They let us out of lockdown in August, but they've thrown us all back in November because none of us can behave. So what's it like over there?
It's, it is not so much a lockdown.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, like, people are still going out and about. I mean, me and my family have been pretty locked down ever since the start of the pandemic. So we're kind of voluntarily locked down. We only go out when we need to, get things, like food and that sort of thing. But so it just kind of, I guess it depends on the person out here, exactly how they're handling it.
In lockdown, obviously, we've all been locked in the house. What things have you been doing to pass the time?
Oh boy, just working, blogging. I do live streaming about twice a week on something called D Live. It's kind of like a Twitch, but it's it integrates a lot of like cryptocurrency. It's very interesting. I feel like it's a exciting place to kind of grow a live streaming content. So that, taking care of my family, just doing the best I can to self-care. What about you? What have you been doing?
I have seen and watched everything that's ever been recorded in the history of mankind. I've seen everything on Netflix. I've seen everything on YouTube. I'm running out of things to watch. So basically, I've run out of television and I'm on YouTube watching pressure washer videos till 4 a.m.
Yes.
And let me tell you, some of them absolutely troll me. They pressure wash like half a wall. They don't show the end result. Oh I'm
my.
left awake at night shaking in bed. But, they're my pride and joy. No. And they never show the end result.
It just was not satisfying because he just didn't complete the task.
I also really got into making bowls of jelly every day with booze in it. I tried every single flavor going, every little concoction going. And I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, you have not lived, Melissa, until you've tried strawberry jello with Gordon's pink gin. You have not lived.
That sounds delightful.
No drugs for me, just pressure washing videos and jelly.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So what have you been watching to kill time? Like, have you been watching things as a family, or have you found any brand new shows? What have you been watching?
You know what? I haven't been watching much. I find myself constantly keeping myself busy doing something. I wish, honestly, I could use more downtime to just turn my brain off.
Yeah.
But I tend to be a bit of a neurotic nut myself, so I don't allow myself sometimes to relax in that way. I feel like I have to constantly be doing something. But oh gosh, I mean, I watched probably the most recent was The Queen's Gambit. I loved that. I don't know. You know what? I really enjoy watching live streams. I think because I am a live streamer now. So, that's where I like to kind of spend my time is listening to people's thoughts live. So, probably, about, hot topics, that sort of stuff, or thought-provoking things, or, I recently joined Clubhouse. Have you joined Clubhouse yet?
Have I joined Clubhouse? I haven't even heard of Clubhouse. I'm still over on Vine. I think I'm pretty much the last person left over on Vine. But everyone's gone to Hive. Have you heard about this?
No. What is Hive?
I have no idea what it is. Everyone was banging on about it on Twitter the other day that they've all signed up. But I'm none the wiser. I don't know what's going on over there. Like, I was pretty early for Twitter to get my username. So I was thinking, do I run over to Hive? Should I run over to Hive now and get my username, just so I have my full username? But I'm definitely too old for TikTok.
No, you're not.
Apparently people over 25 aren't allowed on TikTok, but like the only person that doesn't listen to that rule is Perez Hilton.
Yeah, not a fan of him.
Speaking of people you might be a fan of, have you had a chance to watch Framing Britney Spears yet?
I did. I just watched that the other night and it was incredibly upsetting.
What's your thoughts on it? Because didn't you tour with Britney Spears?
Yeah, I toured with her. It's actually where I met my husband. He was original dancer of hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandon Henschel, that's my man.
Ooh.
But yeah, he was one of the original dancers, like with TJ and Bryan and.
I love TJ.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, me and my friend Emily were going to LA and TJ was going to be our tour guide.
Oh.
But then there was this whole other thing where Homeland Security intercepted us at LAX and we ended up in prison and then deported and banned from America. But that's for another episode.
Oh my.
However, the only thing I learned in my time in LA prison was that you guys actually put people on the side of milk cartons.
Do we? Do we still do that?
Yeah, and I don't really think you're going to find all these missing kids in prison.
Oh my.
I was completely clueless while I was in there. I knocked on the cell door and I asked the prison guard, I was like, what time is it? And she said, when you get your breakfast, it's going to be 8 a.m. And I went, oh, can I see the menu? I thought it was going to be like a tick box thing, I thought I was going to at least have some options.
Oh my goodness.
But long story short, I wasn't able to tell TJ what had happened until I'd been completely deported, sent back to another country. And he sent me a message like, I can't believe, you said you were coming. Like, what the hell was going on? Thinking I'd ghosted him.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. And TJ just thought you ghosted him.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And on the plus side, I kept in touch with all of my cellmates. So, at least I made some friends on the trip.
Oh, good.
Look at me derailing the conversation. So you were on tour with Britney Spears.
Yeah. So that was actually the first tour my group and I did was on her Oops, I Did It Again tour. We opened on her B stage. So we weren't even on the main stage. This was before any of our music had even hit. I don't even think He Loves You Not was even out yet. Or maybe it was, or they had just broke it. I can't remember. It's been so long, but yeah, that was our very, very first tour ever was with Britney. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. It was magical. I mean, I was 15. I think it was about 15 when we were, opening for her. And it was just a very exciting time in pop. And yeah, it was true to be touring with her. So yeah.
That was like the peak of pop music though at the time, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh yeah. It was yes. I feel very, very fortunate to have to share in that part of history, music.
So I told you over DM that I was going to tell you on the podcast why you were my favorite member. And do you know why you were my favorite member?
Why?
Do you know why?
Why?
Okay, so in every girl band, there's a member that just does these spoken bits, like roll the clip. And that's me.
That's all they like.
Those are the best lines. You know they're the best lines. And that's me.
I had to make a moment for myself since they wouldn't let us sing any solos. So I had to create a space for me. So it was the talking.
In the recording studio, did you have to arm wrestle to decide who gets to sing which verse?
Oh my goodness gracious. No, it wasn't that fair. To arm wrestle.
Did they lock you out of the recording studio?
They did actually.
Oh,
they locked us out of the room. Yeah, I'm writing about that in my memoir right now because it was a lot of stuff actually. But no, at the very beginning, before we were even signed with Bad Boy, we were working with a producer who I have spoken about in the past. And then I got a lot of backlash from his ex-wife Tamar. But yeah, it was not a healthy situation. Basically, Holly was basically selected to be like the lead singer of the group, even though all of us could do it. But based off of the sort of the toxic dynamic of that period, we were basically locked in a room. Not really locked. They didn't lock the door, but we were isolated in a room where, we worked out a ton to lose weight. Practiced, harmonizing and that sort of stuff. Like we did things, I suppose, but no, we were not heavily involved in the music recording process of it.
Did you ever speak up and like just demand, can I sing a verse, please?
Yeah, I tried. I had one particular situation where, I was so young. I mean, we were all so young. At this point, I must have been about, I don't know, 14, maybe 13. I don't know. I got signed when I was 12. So, I thought that I was doing something wrong, or that, I had to prove my talent to, get an opportunity to be called into the recording studio.
So Holly was the lead singer. Like, what was her vibe about her only doing all the singing?
I don't know. I can't speak for Holly. I don't know. I do know that for me, it was really, really tough to, feel like I didn't get the opportunity to even,
to showcase.
Yeah, to even showcase. So one day I decided I was just practicing my vocals, and I actually was practicing Christina Aguilera's "Turn to You" because I wanted to show this producer who was kind of controlling everything at the time, what I could do. And so there was this one moment where he actually came out of the recording studio and he was kind of in our space. So I stepped to the side and I turned on the music and I started singing. And he came over and was like, wow, I had no idea that you could do that. And I remember feeling like really proud of myself. Like I did it. Like I made a way for me to like be seen. Like I wanted to prove like, hey, I can do it. I can sing. I can sing too. I can do it. I can hold my own. And I later found out from somebody else who was another artist actually there, who had, approached him after and was like, hey, why don't you ever let Melissa sing? Like, and his response was, she's already going to get enough attention as it is.
Oh my God, so rude.
Well, yeah, it was devastating because that was kind of the beginning of, for me, that gets into your head when people assume that you can't sing, or especially that's what I did my entire life. Like I was a singer. I identified as that. And, I did a lot of musical theater growing up. I was a musical theater kid before I was signed. So, it was really, it was, I guess, kind of the beginning of my persona in the group, which I do think was in many ways kind of modeled after Britney Spears. So that kind of became my role.
So how did you get signed by P Diddy in the first place?
That's a good question. It was through our manager at the time. Had a relationship already with Puff, and yeah, I guess we were not there. We were kids, so I was not there. I was on a part of how it was brought to Puffy. It was only until they had set up the basically auditioning for him at the Beverly Hills Hotel that we got introduced to Puff. But I'm not sure exactly how he was reached out to or how that really came to be.
So then you go on to release He Loves You Not, which is an absolute banger of a track, but it's also the first all-girl group song to be retired from TRL back in the day. That was like 65 days on the countdown, which was completely unheard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was amazing.
Because back in the day, then you had to physically go to all these radio stations, all these TV shows, and people had to physically buy your CD. Whereas nowadays, it's all streaming, it's all done virtually.
Yeah,
that must have been crazy times for you. You were literally everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. There was times that we were in several different states in one day, just promoting. So just flying all over the place. It was amazing. Clive Davis was actually the one who selected our single. Puffy actually did not like He Loves You Not. That was not going to be our first single. It was Clive at Arista that had chose He Loves You Not and was like, this is going to be their single. And thank God that Clive stepped in and gave us that opportunity. So
you absolutely blew up. Like you were absolutely everywhere. You were all over the TV. You were all around the world. At what point did you realize that you were the shit? Like we're really famous.
I I don't think we ever got to a point where it was ever like, oh, we're famous. I don't think we ever got to really enjoy it that much because it was always like really hounded into us to always be humble, which is a good thing. But I think we never really felt like we were good enough. So it was always about like, how do you get better? How do you grow? So there was never really a moment where it's like, oh my God, I'm famous. I think it was more so maybe moments of, just being surrounded by the very people that you are inspired by. Like for me, at the time was, Britney Spears. It was fun to tour with Nsync. We toured with them a lot, probably more than any other artist at that time. And getting to meet people like Jennifer Lopez and, that was really neat. But maybe like when it felt like we made it, it was probably when we were a staple on TRL.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, I don't know if there was really a moment that it was like, I'm famous. Yeah.
You release He Loves You Not. It's a massive hit. It's all over the world. You then release your second single. That goes to number 1 on TRL as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But then everything comes to a pause. What happened?
9/11. 9/11 happened. Our next single was supposed to be When I Get There. And then 9/11 happened and everything kind of stalled at that moment. Yeah, it was 9/11. And then there was a lot of things that kind of played into my decision of leaving around that time. We were actually in the air, flying. I don't know if we were in Connecticut, but we were in the air. We were in the vicinity. We were in the air when 9/11 happened, when the attacks happened. So our plane was grounded in St. Louis. And I remember getting off the plane and we're all getting evacuated and hearing, that the planes hit, the Twin Towers. I didn't know what that was. Again, I was probably 17 at this point.
To be honest, I'd never heard of the Twin Towers until that day either.
I was not. So yeah, and it was very scary, to get, we were grounded and, everyone was scrambling in the airport and you just saw, the images constantly, just everywhere. And then we were stranded trying to get back home. And then eventually we ended up, getting home. We had to take a tour bus all the way back to California. But it was a really scary time. And I think everybody was reflecting on, what they really wanted in life and realizing just how short life is and, how things can change in an instant. And at that point, besides, just dream and what was already happening on the business side, for me, it was a big time of reflection for myself and deciding what I wanted to do moving forward, and really led to my decision to leave the group eventually.
So was it a hard decision to make to leave Dream?
It wasn't, because I had already articulated it. The girls knew about, I wanted to leave prior. And then Ashley has told this story before. And I basically stuck it out, out of respect for the girls and everybody. But I wasn't happy in the group for a very long time. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to decide, because I knew what was best for me and what I needed. And I felt like it just, was not a healthy, as much as I appreciated and I loved it. I loved it. But at the same time, there was a lot of unhealthy dynamics that were just not okay.
So you basically just thought there's more to life than singing background vocals for Holly. It was just for me, and I missed my family so much. I'm the oldest of 5 girls. So I missed my mom, I missed my dad, I missed my sisters. It was, I was still a kid and I was, missing kind of that too. I didn't have much of a break. None of us did. So I certainly do not regret
the decision. I know it was right for me.
So basically, you legged it from the band. What was your plan B?
Well, that's a whole nother thing is I was made to agree that in order for them to release me, that I would not do music of my own. That and at that point I had such a sour taste in my mouth from the music industry that I didn't really want to pursue music at that point. So, that's when I was like, okay, well then I'll go after acting, and that's what I'll do. So I know if you go back and you look at the press release, I guess it was like, oh, I'm leaving the group to pursue an acting career, which was not true. I was leaving the group because I was unhappy, and an acting career was the only other medium at that time that I could think of to kind of springboard off of, because I wasn't allowed to pursue music. They wouldn't release me. They were concerned and scared that if I had, and they had voiced this, that had I had pursued solo music at that point, that I would have taken off on my own. So I was also told I was not allowed to use, Melissa Schuman from Dream or formerly from Dream. I couldn't use Dream at all in anything for myself.
Wow, that sounds like what happened to JoJo.
Yeah, she worked with the same producer.
Oh my
Vincent
God.
Herbert.
Oh my God.
So that would make sense to me.
Jeez.
I don't know her story. I've never met JoJo, but
yeah,
I would imagine we probably would have a lot in common in regards to things that we went through.
Oh my God.
That person.
So are you even allowed to do music anymore, or are you completely banned from doing it?
No, I can do music now. And I did pursue it at one point. And I do want to pursue it again. I plan to, but yeah, no, there's no issues now.
Did you find it really bizarre that MTV aired Making the Band, which was P Diddy's next girl band, Danny E. Kane, and he kept referencing your band as the blueprint for what he wanted, even though you guys only released 2 singles?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised watching the show. It was all the same people that were involved with us. I watched the show.
Oh, really?
I did.
Oh my God.
It was really weird they were living our life.
Yeah.
Everything that they went through, all of it, all the same people, all of it. It was Dream. It was what we went through, but without the cameras and a lot younger.
Across the entire show, he kept telling the brand new girl band that they were going to be as big as Dream, but he seemed to abandon you pretty much immediately after you released your first single.
Well, 2 things. I remember when we went to the UK and we did like Top of the Pops and that sort of thing over there. They pushed us, at least this is what I heard from our reps, that they pushed us far too urban, I guess, in the UK. So they didn't push us pop over there. So they didn't market us correctly outside of the States. So that's why, yeah, we didn't do a whole lot of marketing, I guess, or promoting outside of the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in the UK, they used to play 2 different remix videos for He Loves You Not and This Is Me.
Oh, did they?
Like,
I don't know. No, we did a This Is Me remix with Puffy.
Every time they played the remix, I was like, no, play the other one. Play the other one. The other one's better.
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
I'd be going wild in front of the TV going, and that's me.
And that's me.
Am I nailing it? Oh. Am I getting it right?
Yes, you are. You're nailing it.
And you can't forget the other iconic line.
What? Yeah, what was it?
He's my guy.
He's my guy. Yeah, exactly. It's my guy.
He's my guy.
Yeah.
Who needs a verse when you can just do all the talking parts? They're the best.
No, that's all I needed. Yeah, they did, and I just improvised that entire thing.
And that's me.
You just ad lib.
Did you have to arm wrestle to get those parts?
Well, no, that's what I was called in to do. I just ad lib some talking. They just told me what to do. So, yeah.
He's my guy.
But I remember actually doing the recording for He Loves You Not. And we did it with Steve Kipner and David Frank, the writers. They were the same writers for Genie in a Bottle. And so the recording for He Loves You Not was different because it wasn't with Vincent Herbert. The period that I had just kind of touched on was specifically with him before we were even signed with Puffy. But then by the time we were signed with Puffy, basically he signed a group, right, where he liked the format, where basically Holly was put in place as the lead singer. Yeah. So basically, when we went in to record "He Loves You Not" with Steve Kipner and David Frank, they actually did let us go in and actually sing the verses and actually like kind of audition. And I went in there and I auditioned for whatever this, I think the second verse. And in front of me, they were just like, yeah, we'd love to put you on there, but Puff wants Holly. Like it was so formatted, like rigorously like formatted, like this is going to be the sound of Dream. Mm-hmm. So there is one portion, always looking for a new ride.
Oh yeah.
That's all me.
You.
That's all me.
Oh my God.
That's my vocal.
Always looking for a new ride.
That's all me. I did all the harmonies and stuff. That's all me. They snuck me in there.
Oh, my queen came to slay. That's me.
That's me. That's me.
Oh my God. Let me have a go. Okay, my turn. And that's me.
And that's me.
And that's
that is
me.
Hilarious.
Anyways, back on topic. Framing Britney Spears. I assume you've watched it.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on it since you've been on tour with her? Did you see anything that resembled what she's going through right now?
No, I was too young to pick up on any of that. I will say I was actually talking to my husband about this the other day after watching it, because she makes me sad. What's been done to her. I remember the first time I ever really got to meet her. It was actually on it was like an after party, which we never went to. So it made us feel really cool and we got to go for 30 minutes or whatever. It was like a little after party on the Oops, I Did It Again tour. And it was like in one of the suites, and it was like a bunch of people from tour just kind of hanging out. And that's when I got to meet Britney, like outside of like a real professional setting. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a meet and greet. It wasn't anything like that. It was, as everyone's kind of hanging out and it's this party going on. And I just remember she was about 18, I think. And I got to meet her, and I just remember her having a glass of wine in her hand. And she just came off to me, and this may not have been the case, but this is how I felt when I met her. She came off to me very sad. Even at that time. And I remember she just came off to me like she was very sad. Like I remember meeting her and thinking to myself, like, this is the girl that everybody in the world wants to be right now. And she seemed so sad and lonely to me. And it actually made me really grateful that I was in a group at the time, because I felt like I saw her as like, I don't know, like in a different way, in a real human way. So, but I didn't run in the circle, so I didn't see anything with her camp or anything like that. But I heard stuff, I heard the way people talked about her and gossiped about her. And, I have so many questions in regards to like, just that, like, I'm not a therapist. I don't know, and even just in regards to that, like, I wonder, like, are we looking at depression?
Possibly.
Right? Like, are we seeing physical signs of that? I mean, how could she not be, given the circumstance? And I wish people would be more gentle with her. She's been through so much. I mean, just watching the documentary and just like, just revisiting so much of it. I mean, I just walked away like, oh my God, like.
The one bit that made me absolutely I was disgusted was the way the grown-ass men were talking to a child, or her when she was like 16, talking to her about her boobs. Like, it was just disgusting, wasn't it?
Yeah, they called her a Lolita. Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things I feel like, it's just very upsetting. It's like, and then also, with the Me Too movement, and it's so crazy, because if you go back and you look at just even those like little bits, right, of stuff that, I mean, Britney was under the age of 18, like when she had Baby One More Time, right? And people are talking about her breasts and her sexuality, asking her if she's a virgin. Like, this is all very invasive, and like, excuse my French, none of your fucking business. You know, I wish that somebody had been in her corner to empower her. But, you know, at that time, there was this sort of emphasis, especially on like purity and like being a virgin. And it was just very strange. Like, if you look back on it, I find it to be very strange that, you know, anybody who's, you know, grown adults would be interested in whether or not a 17 or 18-year-old girl is a virgin or not. I just think that that's just like alone is very just creepy, right? Like it's just so creepy. It's just, and then my heart just like, oh, when they revisited the breakup with Justin and how she was so vulnerable, and you saw that. I feel like for the first, yeah, yep. And but you saw that where she's like, I think she says something like, "Come on, strong Britney," you know? You could see that part of her that I feel like that was, I don't know if she had been that vulnerable prior, I can't remember, but I feel like at that moment, like that is obviously like she's such a vulnerable place. And I just remember like the world being horrible to her. Like, look at her ugly cry. And they screenshotted it and put it everywhere. And it's like the trauma of that, you know? And it's like, we wonder why she's spinning around in her foyer. And, you know, in many ways, I feel like she has this wall up, you know? And of course, I'd be the same way. Like, you can't trust anybody. And when you're so used to being hurt, you know, the world has done like built her up, you know, and she's such an icon. But at the same time, the world has been just so terrible to her at the same time. So yeah, I just think that we all owe Britney a massive apology. And yeah, I'm rooting for her.
What do you want her to do when she's finally free? What do you think she's going to say?
I hope that when she can finally speak up, I hope that she freaking unleashes.
Yeah.
Because who freaking cares? Like, she's got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Like, I think everybody wants to know and hear from Britney. I think that, yeah, I don't know. I hope that, you know, I hope that I call it finding your fuck it. I hope she finds her fuck it. Where it's just like, just be you, be authentically you, and don't hold back. Like, just, you know, use your voice and exercise that. Don't be muzzled anymore. Don't let them muzzle you anymore. You know, you're not somebody's puppet.
Yeah.
So, and
I wanted to go full Rose McGowan.
Oh yes, that would be amazing. I love Rose.
We love Rose. Yeah, we love Rose McGowan in this house.
Best.
I mean, the fact that Rose McGowan was able to take on Hollywood and drag all of those predators down from the very top, I think Rose McGowan's going to go down in history for what she's done. Like, that was a cultural reset, not a Lady Gaga song, not a VMA performance.
Yeah.
What Rose McGowan did made history, like the whole Me Too movement.
Oh,
and that's all down to her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Her strength. I love her fiery words.
Yeah.
I love it. She's unapologetic. She is, she's a force.
She's a force of nature.
She's a force.
Have you met Rose?
I've not met her, but we've spoken via DM.
She randomly followed me and DM'd me to say my tweets were hilarious.
Yeah.
So if we flash back a few years, you ended up going on a reunion tour with Dream. How did that come about?
Early 2000s. I guess it would have been 90s for like 98 Degrees. Yeah. So basically the girls and I got back together just to kind of you know, as friends. You know, we went out to San Francisco. That's where, you know, Holly lived. Nice. And it was actually for Ashley's birthday, I think I'm remembering correctly. And then we sang together and decided that we wanted to do something again, you know, after so many years. And then we kind of wrestled with how to do that, considering, you know, our lives had changed so much. You know, at that point, you know, I was married. I had, my son was quite young at that time. And then Holly, you know, had two children. So trying to figure out as women, like, how do we do this, you know, and, you know, sort of juggling all of it. And I want to say about 8 months after our initial get together, we were reached out by a production company who basically was like, we're putting together a sort of like Y2K tour, and we'd like to have Dream as one of the acts.
Ooh.
So yeah, and that took a little bit of finessing and figuring out exactly how we were going to do all of that. I was managing the group at the time because we didn't have any other, no label, no production company, nobody. It was just us. And so basically my husband and I both sort of spearheaded that entire, like the show that we put together for Dream. Like my husband creative directed it. He choreographed it. He's one of the main dancers from Lip Sync Battle. So he, had Jeannie Cheek, who is the wardrobe designer for Lip Sync Battle. She's so lovely. She basically, she's the one who designed all of our costumes when we had our outfits, our wardrobe. We had like no budget. So big thank you to Jeannie Cheek for, making us fabulous and empowering us when we were really kind of underdogs, kind of putting it all together. But yeah, we had to re-record all of our stuff because we didn't have any of those tracks from back in the day.
Yeah.
So all of our backing tracks, all of the instrumental, that was all re-recorded and put together from scratch.
Jeez.
I put together, got the tour bus and put the whole thing together, got us a tour manager, and we did the tour. And so we were the only women too, which was pretty cool. Interesting though. It was very interesting. The dynamic was definitely different from when we were kids in regards to audience.
Well, if you've got Dream on the tour, you don't really need another girl band, do you? You've got the best, don't need the rest, baby.
Exactly.
So what happened with the reality TV show you guys filmed just before the tour? Or was that after the tour?
That reality show was before. So, and nobody picked it up. Yeah. We did that with a production company, Den of Thieves.
Yeah.
And they put together the sizzle reel, which is what you can see on YouTube, but no network was interested. So that never happened. Yeah, we had a lot of those moments.
Why do you think the TV show didn't get picked up?
I have no idea. I think at that point, reality TV was still very much in that sort of like fun lane. Do you know what I mean? Like in regards to like, Simple Life and something that's funny, like super funny, whereas the sort of take on that the reality show that we had essentially was having pitched was really took a look at our lives since the group and really kind of touched on a lot of the pain from it and a lot of the shady stuff that was done. So it was less glamorous and it wasn't funny. It was just it was very real and very raw. And I'm just not sure that the market at that time in reality TV there wasn't really a niche for that yet or an audience for that yet. I don't know. Because mostly with networks, they tend to just regurgitate what works, But a lot of them don't like to take risks.
Yeah. I remember when I filmed a reality TV show like 8 years ago, the whole thing was scripted and I just went along with it. And there was even a point where they were filming me in a nightclub and I was reacting to nothing. They were like, act shocked, like you're watching a fight. And I was like, who's fighting? And they went, we don't know yet, just do it.
You must have had a lot of trust in the production. I'm so I don't trust well, and I'd be so suspicious. Like, oh, I want you to react this way, and I'd automatically be like, why? What are you going to do with that? How are you going to spin it? How are you going to take it out of context? But
I'm dumb as hell. I just went along with it. Do what you want. Get me on TV.
Oh boy, I am not trusting.
Any excuse to get me on TV, I'll do it.
I don't think I'd ever be a very good. I don't know. Maybe I would be. I've never done reality television besides the sizzle reel that we did. I've never done any reality TV.
You should do it.
So
it seems like when you filmed the reality show, yours was more based in reality, if that makes sense. Even though the reality shows, whereas everyone was more used to stuff like, you know, The Simple Life and The Kardashians.
Yeah, I think Newlyweds was like really big at that time too. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But it was 10 years ago when we did that sizzle reel
Oh,
because I was pregnant with my son. So yeah. So I think around that time it would have been like Newlyweds was really popular, you know. So definitely more humorous and silly and playful, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe it would be more current today.
Maybe you were just before your time.
Before our time sometimes.
Moving on, you show a lot of support for Aaron Carter on Twitter, and for people that don't know, he's constantly being sent abuse and being trolled and just being dragged on a daily basis across all the platforms. Did you reach out to him, or did he reach out to you? How did that relationship come about?
Okay. Yeah. So I originally actually spoke to a mutual friend of ours. This was before Aaron and I got into contact. I was concerned because there was an individual that had dedicated basically a campaign against me after I came forward. Just terrible lies and all. Just it was horrible. So this particular person, I became aware that this person that had been, horribly attacking me and my family for quite some time had tried to get into contact with Aaron. And it was actually through Twitter. Somebody had said, why is this person in Aaron's live stream?
Yeah.
And I didn't follow Aaron prior. I didn't look at any of his stuff. Like I wasn't up to date on any of that. But then when I took a look, I was like, these are the same people that harassed me. So I was really concerned for Aaron's safety.
Yeah.
So I reached out. At that point, I spoke to a mutual friend of ours who was like, you should reach out to him. And of course, I was very, very hesitant to do that. One, because he's the brother of the man who sexually assaulted me. And so that's already super conflicting.
Nick. Yeah.
But at the same time, I was genuinely concerned for his safety. And from the clip that I saw, he was, asking these people like, who are you? Who sent you? And they were all saying, oh, your family's concerned for you, your family, whatever. It's very, very strange. So at that point, this mutual friend, I was just like, if you want to reach out to him, if he wants to talk to me, then, I'd be more than happy to share with him what I know of these people, because I was concerned. So that's actually how we got in contact, or we started talking. So he ended up being like, yeah, I want to talk.
Yeah.
So then we spoke together. And it was on that call that he told me that he believed me and the reasons why he believed me. And then he started to share with me other survivors that he knew. And yeah, that's kind of how it started.
I mean, it speaks volumes when even Paris Hilton is talking about the abuse she suffered at the hands of Nick Carter as well on her YouTube documentary. Did you get to watch that as well?
Oh, yes. I saw that she showed the picture of the bruises, which I always found to be very, I still to this day find it very strange that the media doesn't pick up or highlight any of that.
They never do,
the history of domestic violence and, arrests and
it's got loads of them as well.
Run-ins with the law and that sort of stuff. It's very strange. But yeah, I'm glad that Paris, finally touched on it. I'm sure that was very hard for her.
I mean, she touched on it and it was met with like a wall of silence. There doesn't seem to be any repercussions. But on the flip side then, daily I see Aaron Carter being dragged nonstop across every platform, constantly harassed. It kind of makes you think is it all coming from the same place?
Yeah.
Is it coming from he who shall not be named, his brother?
Your guess is as good as mine. Do
you think it's all like Backstreet Boy fans and Nick Carter fans that are just constantly trolling both you and Aaron?
1000%. That's why I reached out. And I 1000%, I was at the RO hearing with him as a witness for him. And I don't believe that Aaron ever threatened his family. I think I believe that the RO was put into place because Aaron spoke out on my behalf, that it was public knowledge that we were now talking publicly about what happened to me. And he started highlighting on some other things he knew that only he can speak of. I believe it was retaliation.
I mean, it speaks volumes that Aaron Carter supports you and not his brother Nick. And then the fact that Nick went out and got a restraining order against Aaron to try and silence him for showing you support speaks volumes. Like, it's loud and clear that there's something not quite right there, and that where there's smoke, there's always fire. And then the fact that these trolls have all the time in the world to be copying and pasting all these accusations and just posting them daily on Twitter, it's just, the mind boggles. Who has the time?
I don't know. Those are all really good questions. They devote an awful lot of time where I mean, who has that kind of time to devote years of it? I mean, they still do it to me. And sometimes I'm very selective when I do speak up, because it's distressing to be harassed like that. So, I think that Aaron is very strong. I think that a lot of people give him a lot of crap and they pick him apart, but he's dealt with a lot of trauma himself. And I think that people need to be kinder just in general. I think that they're horribly mean to him. I think they're abusive.
Yeah, they just need to leave him alone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you remember that horrible reality TV show that the Carters had on E back in the day? And it really showcased how aggressive and violent Nick was to Aaron when he locked him in that room.
That was very triggering for me. Yeah, because I was locked. I was isolated. I mean, I don't know if you read my blog and my experience, but I was isolated with him, and he's scary. Yeah. So that scene, and that was around the time that it happened to me. Oh, and if you actually go and if you look at like who I named in my blog, Kenneth Creer was later on a manager of mine. He produced House of Carters. You'll see his name all over it. He was very good friends. Didn't realize it when I signed with them. Yeah. But I just thought that Nick was a client, and you know how it is. It's like when you are represented by somebody, it doesn't matter who's on their roster. Yeah. It's like, doesn't mean you're ever going to work with those people or see those people ever, so I was aware that he was on his roster, but I did not know that they were basically like family. I mean, that was articulated to me after I had signed with Kenneth. I had no idea. So
when did you report the assault?
I reported it after I came forward. So my blog came out November 2017, and I filed February 7th, 2018. But I wanted to go to the police when it happened, but I was discouraged and advised not to. There's a lot of things looking back. I wasn't, I didn't realize that at the time of the assault, when I had confided in my then manager, Nils Larson, about what happened, he told me he was going to go and that I need a good attorney. And so he was going to go and, find out, if he can get me one. I was 18. I was young. I was so naive. I didn't know how I'd never, obviously in my life, ever experienced anything like that. I didn't know how how the legal system worked. I had no idea that I didn't even need a attorney, because that's what the district attorney does for I had no idea how my manager flat out was like, well, we need to find you somebody. I didn't know how it worked. So looking back, I wish I just filed then. But I trusted a little too much.
Well, whether you spoke out back then or yesterday, all that matters is that you did speak out.
Yep.
And it's the same for Rose McGowan. She spoke out decades
Yeah.
later, but it doesn't really matter if she spoke out the day
No,
after
it's
or
not.
a decade later or 2 decades later. She still did it, and she caused a shockwave through the whole of Hollywood that's still felt today.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to you, Melissa. Back to you. So what's your hopes and aspirations and dreams for coming out of lockdown when Corona finally just F's off? What do you want to do? What's your new
Oh
things?
my gosh. Well, I'd like to make some new music. I'd like to make the music I never got a chance to do. That's a whole nother thing. I'm writing my memoir right now because ever since speaking out and coming forward, it's been a lot of processing especially over the
Yeah.
last few years, a lot of clarification. I have a far better, sort of perspective on a lot of it that I didn't prior. So I'm writing my memoir and, I'm focusing primarily on wellness, on my own wellness, on helping other people with their wellness. So yeah, I mean, besides that, I think just traveling, being with friends and
Oh my God, yeah.
family, I'm a big like wine person. So I'd love to go to like Napa or like go for a nice little wine trip and, to the different wine tasting rooms and that sort of thing. But I don't know. What about you? What are your hopes and dreams for once this is all said and done and we're all released from our little prisons?
I miss just hugging people and being around endless amounts of people, going on a night out and just talking to everyone in a bar, or just meeting people for dinner or going to the cinema. Just
Oh
simple
yeah,
things like you thought was so mundane, and now you're like, oh, that was just heaven.
that
Like
was
we had it
decadent.
so good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like my husband's like, do you want to go out for Valentine's Day and like go have dinner? And I'm like, no, it's not the same. It's just, I want to, but not in the state that it is. It just it doesn't really scream romance when you have an N95 mask on as you dine, just so, but yes, oh my gosh, just to go out and do something and spend time with people.
I just want to go on a big wild night out, get a nice big gin, and get on the karaoke machine and start singing my favorite song. And that's me.
Yes, I love it.
The whole track will be instrumental until it gets to your bits, and I'll be like, he's my guy.
I love it.
Always looking for a new ride.
Yes, always looking for a new bride. You got to sing that one though. You got to sing it.
I will. I'll be up there twirling around a pole, flashing my knickers. Just for you, all for you. What's your karaoke song?
My karaoke song. Oh God, Shania Twain's "I Feel Like a Woman."
Let's go, girls.
I love it.
So you mentioned you want to start doing music again. Have you already started recording?
I've started writing, not so much recording. But yeah, just to do. I never really had the opportunity to really discover myself as an artist, like authentically, like what that lane would be. Because when I did do a little bit of music after Dream, everyone, at least the majority of the people, always wanted me to be like a Britney Spears. So it was always that lane. And even though, I adore Britney and I love Britney, that wasn't me though, authentically. Like it was kind of more of, that was a real reflection of kind of what my role was in Dream. I feel like it was kind of the prototype or the blueprint, I guess, for what my role was right in the group, but it just wasn't me. So, so like the music that I did, it was just always like most projects, right? Like you just kind of like I said before, with like even like people like with networks, they like to really kind of duplicate what works, right? And so people were just always wanting to kind of duplicate Britney, but that never really resonated, especially as I got older, and especially once I started to find out who I was and discover who I was, right? So I wasn't so satisfied with just emulating another artist, which I feel like I did. So yeah. Yeah.
So what vibe you going to give us with the solo music?
That's what I'm kind of like experimenting with. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to do something. And like, I think I have to kind of try, a lot of different, just try just to kind of experiment. But I wouldn't mind doing something like a sort of like a Natalie and Brulia, esque sort of like pop. I don't know. Just something. I think what's important to me is to be able to tell a story and like write about things that are true and that matter. I love a good like pop record where you can just kind of escape and have fun and that sort of thing. And I think I'd like to do that eventually in the future. But I feel like I have so much to still say that I feel like whatever it is, it's going to be very lyric driven. So.
Oh my God, you are going to erupt all over that microphone, aren't you? Yeah, I'm full of rage.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta let it out.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, look forward to.
I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And if you need anyone to do any background vocals, I'm always available.
Absolutely, or talking moments. I definitely would love to have you.
I would be absolutely honored. Thank
Love
you so
it.
much. And that's me.
And that's me.
She's my guy. All right, I'm going to round this off now. So there's no more Dream on the horizon. Is that it?
Yeah, as far as, I just don't see how Dream is possible because both Diana and Holly don't want to do it. So it's always going to be a yes for me and Ashley. But it's kind of hard to bring Dream back when you can't force two people, 2 out of the 4.
Well, luckily for you, I've got a fantastic plan.
Yes.
Why don't you do Holly's vocals and then I'll do yours?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I've just passed the audition. This is an audition.
Yes, you have.
I can't believe I'm in Dream.
Yes, we have a new member. Exclusive here.
He's my guy.
He's my guy. And you have to say, come on. When you want to
Where did you say that?
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Come on.
I'll do it in a full British accent.
Yes.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Come on. Oh my God, Melissa. Right. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was very fun.
When you're doing your memoir, I'd like to pull you back on, then we can discuss that.
I love that. Oh yeah. It's going to be very unfiltered.
And every time you bring out a new song, we'll have to have you back on so we can discuss where my parts were.
I love it. Oh yes, of course. Well, we're going to have a whole song devoted to just your parts.
Thank
a whole talking track.
He's my guy.
He's my guy.
Listen.
That's me.
That's me too.